The office hummed with the low murmur of business calls and the tapping of keyboards, but Wine's attention was elsewhere. From her corner seat, she couldn't tear her eyes away from him, the man who ruled the company with an iron precision and a presence that seemed to bend the very air around him. Jungkook leaned back in his leather chair, dark eyes scanning a spreadsheet projected onto the screen. Every movement he made, how he adjusted his cufflinks, the slight throw of his brow, the calm, measured way he spoke was magnetic. He was meticulous, commanding, untouchable, and for reasons she didn't dare admit even to herself, Wine felt a pull she couldn't resist. God, he's flawless. She thought, her chest tightening and utterly impossible. A meeting had just begun, and the room buzzed with anticipation. Executives murmured about projections and marketing strategies. But Jungkook's gaze cut through the chatter like a blade. He didn't just walk into a room, he claimed it. And Wine felt both intimidated and oddly exhilarated. Miss Wine, Jungkook's voice was calm, controlled, yet it sliced through the air sharper than any wise tone could. She jerked slightly, her pen trembling in her hand. Yes, sir, she managed her voice almost a whisper. He didn't glance at her immediately. Instead, he tapped the screen with a silver pen before finally letting his piercing eyes land on her. Your report lacks precision. I suggest you review the data again before presenting it. Accuracy isn't optional here, it's mandatory. The room went quiet, not from anger, but from the sheer coldness in his tone. There was no yelling, no drama, just the quiet authority of a man who expected perfection and tolerated nothing less. Wine's stomach flipped, her cheeks swarmed a mix of embarrassment and something she couldn't quite name. Admiration, fear, something far more dangerous, something that made her pulse quicken. He doesn't even flinch, he's untouchable, she thought, biting her lip. From across the room, she noticed the glimmer of a ring on his hand, a subtle but undeniable sign that he was already promised to someone else. Yet, even that did not dull her fascination. If anything, it made the forbidden pull stronger. Miss Wine, he sat again, softer this time, yet still carrying the weight of command. I expect a revised version on my desk by 5 p.m. Do not fail to meet this deadline. Of course, sir, she whispered, trying to steady her shaking hands. He gave her a fleeting glance, almost dismissive, and then returned to his laptop as if she didn't exist. The cold indifference made her chest ache in a way that was both painful and intoxicating. She wanted no, needed to prove herself, to catch even a fraction of his attention, yet she knew the odds were stacked against her. I just want him to notice me, she thought, exhaling sharply even once. Little did she know the momentary brush of his attention, the sharpness of his rebuke, and the unapproachable aura that surrounded him were only the beginning. The storm that was Jungkook would soon sweep into her life in ways she never imagined, and nothing would remain the same. The hum of the office felt louder now, each tick of the wall clock echoing in Wine's chest as she stole glances at him. Jungkook didn't just work, he commanded attention without effort. His shoulders were squared, movements deliberate, as sharp as they flicked across the reports in front of him. He noticed her staring, but only just. There was no warmth in his gaze, only a piercing precision that made her feel exposed under his scrutiny. Why does he make me feel like this? She wondered, her fingers tightening around her pen like every thought I had is laid bare and just. He leaned back in his chair slightly, fingers stippled under his chin, observing the room with a calm authority that seemed most untouchable. When someone praised him for a recent merger, Jungkook barely acknowledged the compliment, a subtle tilt of his head, the only hint he had heard. Once heard skipped, the dismissiveness should have stung, yet it drew her in further. His fine, his voice cut through the office. Again, cool, composed, sharp. Her pen hovered midair. Yes, sir? She managed, her voice slightly trembling. He didn't rise from his seat, didn't move a muscle except to flick his gaze toward her. The intensity of his eyes slicing through the room, your report lacks precision. He said each word deliberate, never rising in voice, yet the calmness made the criticism sharper than any shout. I suggest you review the data again before presenting it. Accuracy is not optional, here it's mandatory. The quiet command left her stunned. She nodded quickly, heart hammering the cold authority in his voice, the effortless dominance. It was intoxicating and terrifying all at once again. He's flawless and cruel without even trying. She thought her chest tightening, as if to punctuate his untouchable presence. Her gaze caught something on his desk. A silver ring flashed in the sunlight. A message notification buzzed briefly on his phone with a name. That made her stomach twist. Her presence would never matter in that world. The subtle details his fiancée, the life he already had made him even more untouchable. Yet she couldn't look away. Jungkook leaned slightly back, scanning the room, seemingly lost in thought. Yet his eyes flickered toward her again, just for a fraction of a second, enough to make her pulse spike. Then he returned to his work, the cold indifference as sharp as a knife. I shouldn't be thinking about him like this. She chastised herself silently. He's engaged, he's cruel, and yet I can't help it. Finally, he broke the silence again, voice low but edged with authority. Miss Vine, I expect a revised version on my desk by 3 p.m. Don't make me ask twice. She swallowed hard. Of course, sir, she whispered, feeling the weight of his gaze linger like an invisible hand on her shoulder, reminding her that she was small in his world, yet somehow impossible to ignore. As he turned his attention back to the spreadsheet, the room seemed colder, sharper, almost suffocating in its perfection. Wine sank slightly in her chair, both intimidated and mesmerized. Knowing that the man she admired was untouchable, unyielding, and utterly indifferent to her existence, the gala hall shimmered under the hundreds of crystal chandeliers, the air thick with perfume and whispered conversations. Anne leaned against a marble column, her clutch tight in her hand, heels digging slightly into the polished floor across the room. Chubuk laughed lightly at something his fiancée said. The subtle charm he wielded effortlessly, making everyone orbit him. Once just tightened, she had admired him for months. The way he commanded the office, the way people froze in his presence, how his cold authority seemed to bend the room to his will. And tonight she wasn't just nervous, she was ready. Miss Vine, his voice cut through the hum, low, controlled, level. Every head seemed to turn as he stepped closer. One straightened, immediately meeting his gaze with a fearless tilt of her chin. Yes, sir. She replied, voice steady, letting a dangerous milk tug at her lips. He stopped a foot away, dark eyes scanning her like she was a puzzle he didn't yet want solved. I can't believe you submitted such a sloppy report. Did you even read my instructions, or is carelessness your natural talent? Once Smith widened. Maybe I just like keeping you on your toes, sir. Makes life more interesting. The corner of his mouth twitched, not in amusement but irritation. Interesting. You think your incompetence is clever, you're embarrassing yourself. Before she could fire back, his hand snapped up, slapping her across the cheek. The sting was immediate and public. Gas rippled through her the crowd. Wine's fingers flew to her cheek, but her eyes burning with fury never wavered. You, she hissed, stepping forward, fury igniting like wildfire. You just laughed in front of your fiancée. What are you proving your dominance to her now? Jungkook's eyes dark and sharp as knives. I'm proving reality. You are worthless wine, always a mistake. Always beneath me. Mine's laugh was sharp and venomous beneath you. Oh, Jungkook, I think you just realized I don't give a damn about your opinion or your fiance or this little stage power play of yours. He stepped closer, towering over her, jaw tight. Careful, you're dangerously close to losing more than your pride. Do you think you can talk to me like that? Wine's eyes sparkled with defiance. I'm talking because I can, Jungkook. You humiliate me, I hit back. You threaten me, I don't care. You think I'll core wash me. And then she did slap back him. Hard, the crack going across the hall. Her stern whispers filled the air. His fiance's hands flew to her mouth, horrified. Jungkook's dark eyes widened, stunned, as if the universe had just shifted beneath him. You, he growled, voice low, dangerous. You'll regret this, I swear. Wine leaned in, voice calm, sharp, lethal. Regret? Oh, honey, the only thing you'll regret is underestimating me. You humiliate me, I humiliate you. You think your money, your position, your ego scares me? Fuck it all. Jungkook, your fake perfection, your entire precious word. Jungkook's hand shot up again, trembling with control. Rig, I will ruin you. Do you understand? You are mine. Wine's eyes narrowed and she slapped him a second time, deliberate and flinching. Mine, I'm nobody's Jungkook, and if you think thrasher slaps can bang me, think again. You humiliate me in front of everyone, I slap back twice as hard. You try to scare me, I laugh. You think I care about your dominance? I don't, not one bit. A tense silence fell over the crowd. The man who had always been untouchable, cold, perfect, commanding, stood exposed, jaw tight, breathing fast. His fiancée stared pale, unsure whether to intervene. Wine, however, stood like a queen, chest high, pulse fierce, eyes blazing. You are reckless. Jungkook said finally, voice low, dangerous, trembling slightly. You have no idea what you have done. You will pay. Pay? Wine cut him off, smirking, voice dripping like venom. I already paid attention to myself for once. You humiliate me, I humiliate you. You think I will bow? I don't bow. You think I fear you? I don't. You think your perfection intimidates me? Fine. I walk out right now. Her heels clicked sharply against the marble as she turned, walking away through the stunned crowd. Every whispered reaction, every wide eyed glance fueled her confidence. She was no longer just a quiet admirer, she was the baddie who had faced the untouchable Jungkook and walked away unbroken. Jungkook's chest halved, eyes dark, following her retreating figure. For the first time, he was caught off guard, unarmed by his own control and utterly mesmerized by a woman who refused to bend. At wedding, the wedding hall was a world of flowers, music, and perfectly arranged seats, every detail immaculate, but something was off. Jungkook's fiancée, the woman who had been his perfect engagement story, was gone. Panic pricked at his chest as he paced the grand hall. Dark eyes scanning for any sign of her. Where is she? He barked to his assistant, voice tied with disbelief. She can't just disappear. She ran, sir. The assistant whispered, voice trembling. She left before the ceremony started. There was a note she said she couldn't go through with it. Jungkook froze, his perfectly controlled world built on image, power, and predictability crumbled in a heartbeat. Anger flared sharp and hot, but beneath it, something unfamiliar began to stir. Regret, panic, confusion. He stormed out of the hall, needing air, needing clarity. The city streets stretched before him, cold and quiet, and then, in a small sunlight courtyard of a quaint apartment building, he saw her. Wine. She was kneeling on the warm wooden floor of a small balcony. Sunlight spinning over her hair, her hands gently stroking a fluffy gray cat that purred contentedly. She laughed softly, the sound light. A cup of tea steamed beside her. The world around her was calm, cozy, utterly untouched by his chaos. For a moment, Jungkook just watched, breath catching in his thought. She looked so happy, so untouchable in her own right. And yet, every fiber of his being screamed that she had been the one he couldn't control, the one he had underestimated. Wine looked up at him, cat cradled in her arms, eyes sparkling with mischief. Oh, hey, she said casually, was slightly eating. Did you lose something? Jungkook's jaw tightened, dark eyes burning. Do you know what day it is? His voice was sharp, commanding, but the edge of vulnerability made it almost human. Wine tilted her head, smear curling her lips. Oh, wedding day? Yeah, not mine though. Yours seemed stressful, so I don't want to intrude. Didn't know your fiance could bail like what a shocker. You're laughing. His voice was low, incredulous. You're happy. I am living, she replied softly, her smile gentle but full of fire. I'm free. I'm not hiding from anything. Unlike some people I know who are completely terrified of losing control. She paused, letting the cat curl into her arms. It suits me. Chuguk stepped closer, fists clenching at his sides. The cold, untouchable facade he always wore was cracking. Do you have any idea what this means? His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. You could have been humiliated, ruined. Wine laughed again, light and melodic. A sound that made his chest ache in a way he hated. Ruined, please, I have already survived your slaps, your insults, your ego, and your perfect little word. I'm still standing, happier than ever, and look, she raised the cat gently, still got me and my little companions to keep life interesting. He stared, jaw tight, mind reeling. She was calm, untouchable, living without him, and it both infuriated and fascinated him. For the first time, Chunguk felt powerless. Wine leaned back against the balcony railing, cat purring, eyes meeting his. So, what now, Chunguk? You finally free from your fiance and me? Well, I'm still me, living my life, happy, free, and you? He clenched his jaw, swallowing hard. Dark eyes never leaving her face. The wind tugged at his coat. The city noise is fading. For the first time in years, he didn't have control and he hated it. But a part of him couldn't stop watching her, couldn't stop wanting what he couldn't have, her freedom, her fire, her attention. Wine smirked wide and cat nestled against her chest. Thought so. She said softly, almost to herself. Some things you just can't control. And Jungkook, the cold, untouchable CEO, realized she had always been untouchable, and he had just lost the perfect chance to have her under his control. Now he would have to earn her attention if he could even manage it.